Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Car Reviews podcast. Before I get into the two cars we're going to talk about today, I wanted to remind everyone that we also have the Collector Car Stories podcast, where we talk to an enthusiast every week, hear a little about their cars, the fun they have with them, and just some of their car stories. As I say, we have a lot of fun with these, and we hope you might check it out. Again, on our website, CollectorCarCanada.CA, every page has a link to our podcast, so it's a menu item. If you're on a computer, it's in the top right of your screen. If you're on a phone or tablet, it is towards the bottom of the first menu. So, car review, back to car reviews, as we call them, CRs. Today we're going to talk about two cars. The first one you're going to see is a 1992 Chevrolet Corvette 6-speed manual coupe, not a convertible, it's a coupe, although it's got a removable glass roof panel. So it's finished in its original bright aqua metallic, and it's over a black interior. Interesting to note that the car is not leather, the car is cloth, and the owner joked with us that if a 92 Corvette with a leather interior hasn't had its leather replaced, it needs to. So he sidestepped that by 19 years ago when he by buying the cloth interior. Black interior, so black seats, black carpets, black door cards. There is a bit of a tweed look pattern on the inserts of the seats. So 92, the first year for the LT1 engine in the Corvette, boosting horsepower from 245 to 300. So a desirable update at the time, and 330 pound-feet of torque for the factory rating there. So that one is lot 199 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. Stay tuned. We're going to tell you a little bit more about it, and you'll see a little more about it. But as well, we're also going to tell you this week about a 2010 Ford Mustang GT convertible, also a manual transmission. It's a 5-speed manual, and it's finished in, I'm looking at my notes here because I want to get this color right. It's finished in red candy pearl metallic, which really pops as a red. It's not a fire engine red, but we do have photos of it in a couple of different lighting situations. Perfectly sunny day, and on photo day there was also some overcast skies, so you can see the red in the red. It is a tough one. Red candy pearl metallic. You'll see it in the two lightings. Stone leather on the interior with matching carpets and door cards. And this car's, it's got a 4.6 liter V8 engine, factory rated at 315 horsepower, and that engine's made it up to a 5-speed manual transmission, which makes the rear wheels go. So all the power gets sent to the rear wheels on this Mustang. Convertible top, power top, two handles to release right by the visors, and then away you go. You just put one push of a button and down the top goes. The top is a color consistent with that stone colored interior. But yeah, a very well optioned car. A few upgrades on this car, as you'll see we get into the details, but I'll mention them now. There's a hookup for a bike rack on the rear. Don't be fooled. Certainly it's not strong enough for a trailer, but it's also too small to mount a trailer hitch, so don't be fooled into thinking that this car was used for any towing. Another upgrade is the wheels. Although they're changed from stock, they house stock tires, so stock size tires. So say equivalent ride maybe to the to coming out of the factory. And the third upgrade on this car we wanted to tell you about is Flowmaster exhaust. So a dual exhaust on this car, but if you get close to one on the street with this Flowmaster exhaust, you hear it's there. It's got a nice V8 rumble, and we'll let you hear the sound of that in the detailed video coming up. So again, lot 200 for the 2010 Ford Mustang GT convertible in candy red pearl metallic, and lot 199 on CollectorCarCanada.CA for the 1992 Chevrolet Corvette coupe in a 6-speed manual with the removable glass top. Enjoy the videos. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Car Reviews podcast on CollectorCarCanada.CA. Before we get into it with this 1992 Chevrolet Corvette 6-speed manual, I just want to remind everyone we also have the Collector Car Stories podcast, where every week we speak to an enthusiast, get some of their car stories and hear about some of their cars. We have a little fun with it, so I hope you'll check it out as well. So again, today we're looking at a 1992 Chevrolet Corvette 6-speed manual. It's lot 199 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. The owner has been the custodian of this car for 19 years. It's finished in its original bright aqua metallic paint. So again, original paint. Clean Carfax is on the listing as well. On the inside, the cabin is black with tweed look inserts in the seats. You'll see matching carpets to go along with the primarily black seats and matching door cards. The car has a removable glass roof, so it's an open roof, no T-bars in this one. And if you rip through the photos on our detailed listing, you'll see a photo of inside the console. In the storage of the console, there's a dedicated tool with which you can take off the glass roof. Like all Corvettes from the second generation through the fifth, so from 1965 through to 2004, the car is equipped with retractable pop-up headlights. A nice feature of this car, which differentiates it from a lot of 32-plus-year-old Corvettes, no modifications. So this car is running stock running gear. Another nice feature of a 32-year-old Corvette is that the air conditioner on this car still blows cold. It's blowing cold. It was tested on photo day, so it'll go to its new owner. If it's a hot day, no problem at all. Flick on that AC. So the 5.7 liter engine, no change in displacement from the prior year, but in 1992, the Corvette went to an LT1 engine, a V8 just like the prior year, but the big difference is the surge in power. In 1991, the Corvette was factory rated at 245 horsepower, whereas the V8 here in this 92 was factory rated at 300 horsepower. So a surge of 55 horsepower over the 91s. 6-speed manuals in place. It was built by transmission specialist ZF or ZF over in Europe. And that kind of differentiates it from a lot of Corvettes too. In the C4 generation, there would have been a lot of automatics. So this car is just right for someone who's looking for a manual transmission. And unlike the early C4s, this one's not the 4+3 speed Doug Nash transmission. This one's a straight 6-speed, as I say, manufactured by ZF. Dual exhaust is in place on this car. If you look closely at the exits, there are actually 2 pipes on each side, but they're obscured by a decorative rounded rectangle exit, which goes over the 2 pipes. Nice touch on the more modern C4s are the 17-inch saw blades. That's the slang given the wheels on this car. Square setup, so same size at each of the 4 corners. And the stock tire size for width is 275. The car wears 275, 45, 17-inch tires at all 4 wheels. There's also a limited slip differential, and the 4-wheel disc brakes come with ABS control. Getting into some of the features inside, there's a Delco AM/FM cassette player, power group, so there are power windows, power locks, power mirrors, one power seat. I might not have mentioned earlier about the black interior. The black seats are a cloth finish. They're not finished in leather. And this is, there's an old joke about old houses. If it doesn't have a new foundation yet, it needs one. You might say the same about a 32-year-old Corvette with leather interior. If it doesn't have a new interior yet, it probably needs one. So this car kind of sidesteps the wear of the leather. Another interesting feature that appealed to the seller back 19 years ago when he bought it and had young children, the car has one airbag only. So there's a 4-spoke steering wheel with an airbag incorporated within. So he had young kids, and he liked the fact that this front seat was child friendly, as in there's no airbag. So it's friendlier for smaller passengers. Of course, now the kids are all 19 years older and wouldn't be caught dead riding around in the car with their dad. The instrumentation is an analog digital combo, less digital than the original C4. So centrally mounted in the middle through the steering wheel opening is the speedometer in a digital LCD readout with a fuel gauge reading out the same way, whereas the tach on the left is analog. The tachometer has a maximum reading of 6,000 RPM with a 5,500 RPM red line. And there are gauges for oil pressure, oil temperature, water temperature, and a voltmeter to the right side of the speedometer. So the LT1 V8 comes with multi-port fuel injection, factory rated at 300 horsepower, factory rated as well with 330 pound-feet of torque. The owner, in his 19-year custodianship, has generally had the car serviced by independent Corvette specialist shops. There are a few photos of some of the various service records he has accumulated over the years. But we asked him, and he said the car's never needed any major repairs. The car has 125,000 kilometers as it sits, or just under. The car will go to the new owner with under 125,000 kilometers. And he said he purchased it at about 90,000 kilometers 19 years ago. So 35,000 clicks in the span of 19 years, a little less than 2,000 kilometers a year. And as you'll see from his collection of work orders, he's kept up the car. The car's going to go with 2 sets of keys. There's a clean Carfax for the car, so do take a look at that. It's in the CCC Vital Info section of our web listing, CollectorCarCanada.CA lot 199. The service records are there. There's also an owner's manual. The original owner manual comes with the car. And on our listing, you'll see about 100 photos. There are several videos and our normal paragraph form listing, rich in information and hopefully short on spelling mistakes. So again, Collector Car Canada lot 199 for the 1992 Chevrolet Corvette 6-speed manual. Don't forget to have a look at our other podcast, the Collector Car Stories podcast. And I'll just close by thanking you for watching. We'll see you next time. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Car Reviews podcast on CollectorCarCanada.CA. Just a reminder that we also have the Collector Car Stories podcast. You'll find that on our podcast page on the website and also on our YouTube channel. There's a weekly episode there just with an enthusiast telling his or her story about cars and enthusiast pursuits. We really have a lot of fun with them. We hope you'll check them out. But for today's car review, we're talking about a 2010 Ford Mustang GT convertible. So GT, it's got the 4.6 liter V8, a stick. I think what we'll do next is we'll start up the car, put the top down, and this one's a convertible, and we'll pop the hood, listen to the engine run, and go from there. So here we go with starting up the 2010 Ford Mustang GT convertible. It is lot 200, or lot 200 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. Okay, so we'll give the engine a crank. Let's have a listen. Okay, we're started. Maybe the camera can pan out and get a look at the top coming down. Couple of releases here on the 2010. Pretty simple though, power top. I didn't mention the mileage on this car. It's under 45,000 kilometers, so I expected the top to run without any trouble at all. As I speak, I read the odometer at 44252. So this car is definitely going to its new owner under 45,000 kilometers. So let's pop that hood, have a look. All right. So this version of the Mustang is known, excuse me, as the S197. So it followed the SN95. Went to the kind of nostalgic look. You can see the front end of the car harkens back to 1969 when there were the two sets of lights. In fact, on this car, the center lights are the fogs and the outside lights, as you'd expect, are the headlights. But getting down to business here, 4.6 liter V8 engine. It's good for, it was factory rated at 315 horsepower. So quite a surge from the Fox bodies of yesteryear. And torque rating, 325 pound-feet. So not lazy at all. I like seeing this stabilizer bar. Being a Fox body owner, I know the Fox body Mustangs, former Fox body owner I should say, they could have used a little more stability, and that's addressed certainly with that stability bar. And I also like up here the sort of decorative work on those valve covers with the Mustang logo and the Powered by Ford script. So why don't we walk around to the back, we'll have a listen to the exhaust. Another neat thing about this car is it's got an aftermarket exhaust. So if the camera is able to get the very top of the pipe, you'll see the Flowmaster insignia. So you'll see that on both sides. So a dual exhaust on this 2010 Mustang GT convertible, and it really does have a roar. I'm not one really to rev engines to the red line, but just because this one sounds nice, I'm going to give it a little gas. Maybe we can get the microphone up close to those pipes when I do that. So it does have an aggressive rumble gurgle. We also have some driving videos on the listing. Again, it's lot 200, lot 200 on CollectorCarCanada.CA, and you'll be able to see those. You probably noticed what you think might be a trailer hitch on this car, or a hitch hookup. I wanted to address that. It's not trailer. This would be too small for any trailer. It's for a bike rack. So a bike rack connects on there, and the bikes can be carried protecting the paint, which is nice. So I'm going to cut the engine, and we'll have a closer look at the exterior of this Mustang. Put the hood down as well. So as I was saying, on this front end with the 4 lights across, of course there's the Mustang emblem in the center. The centers are fog lights, and the outsides are, as you'd expect, HID headlights. But it really does have the look of the 69 Mustang, certainly in terms of that light treatment. There is I know I'm dealing with a fastidious owner when he points this out. There is a small stone chip here on the hood. Maybe the camera could come up close. I'm not going to guarantee the camera will be able to see it. So right in between the camera and my coin is a small chip, and I'm using the coin to give you some perspective. Pretty small, but the owner wanted to point that out. There are a couple of other flaws in the paint, so while I'm talking about them, I'll point them out. Here on the hood, he mentioned that something dropped on the car when it was stored in his garage. And then a little bit, there's a bit of an imperfection over here on the rear bumper cover. Some of the clear coat is peeled off a little bit, but just on the bumper cover, not on the metal. So I'll meet the camera on the other side of the car from the front. So it's kind of a neat styled hood. You do see an uprise in it, accommodating the 4.6 liter engine. Maybe you can show the wheels, Mr. Cameraman. They're also an upgrade. They're made by Fast. I'll mention though that the tire sizes are original. There are General G-Max tires on this car. They're W rated, and at all four corners they're 245, 45, 19. So those lights certainly are one thing that distinguishes the 2010 GT from the V6 Mustang. You'll also see the GT emblem on the fender just before the door opening. And another neat thing that Ford does with these Mustangs, I like this little embossed Mustang logo here in the center of the windshield. It's subtle, might be hard to pick up, but I like to notice these things. So yeah, the Fast wheels in place at all four corners. Another tell of that we're dealing with a Mustang GT here is this emblem's got the GT in the center. Let's take a look at the inside of the car, the interior cabin. So we did show the car with the top up. The rest of the video will be with it down. We've got a 240 kilometer an hour speedometer. So Canadian car, the dominant measure on the speedometer is kilometers an hour. And our tachometer on the right side is 8,000 max with a 6,500 RPM red line. If the camera can get a look at those two gauges through the steering wheel, you can see the look Ford was going for, kind of the nostalgic look from the first generation Mustang, which was 65 to 73. The sportier, certainly original Mustangs, certainly the Pony Edition, had those round gauges, and the font, even the fonts used in these ones harken back to those days. A well-optioned car, as you might expect. I think I did mention manual transmission, so a 5-speed manual with traction control. Here's where you turn the traction control off. Shaker stereo, so I haven't cranked up the radio, but I'll bet it is a boomer given that Shaker is showing off its emblem on them. We might have to cut this video a little short. The skies are getting gray, but we'll say power seats on both sides, and just your typical HVAC system here with air conditioning that blows nice and cold. Power locks, power windows, the power top as we saw. Speakers on the doors and in the rear for the big Shaker system. But yeah, nice off-white leather interior, perforated seats, which helps with cooling in the hot summer. I did notice power outlet up here and cup holders in here as well. Let's take a quick look at the trunk. Not much out of the ordinary here, just some cleaning supplies in there. The folder of documentation will include on the listing, but there is a spare tire in there, space saver spare, and yeah, nice clean trunk. If you can get a shot of the underside, Mr. Cameraman, I certainly took. We do have some underside photos on the listing, nice and clean in there as well. So I think we better wrap up the video to beat the rain. Again, CollectorCarCanada.CA, lot 200, 2010 Ford Mustang, convertible GT with under 45,000 kilometers. It's a 5-speed manual. So please do take a look at the listing itself, CollectorCarCanada.CA, lot 200. And don't forget about our Collector Car Stories podcast, where you'll find a fun story every week. Please take a look when you have a chance. Thanks for watching.